Welcome back to Pre-AP Chapter 10. Part 3, we're going to look at percent composition and empirical formulas. Percent composition, like the name implies, tells you the relative percent by mass of each element in the compound. This is determined by dividing the mass of the individual elements in the compound by the entire formula mass of the compound. In formula form, it looks like this. Take the mass amount of the individual element divided by the total mass amount of the compound. We multiply by 100, and the percent there is simply the label for our answer. Let's do it for a simple one, hydrogen fluoride, HF. You'll notice 1 hydrogen, 1 fluorine. Now first I need a total. So from the periodic table, I found the mass of 1 hydrogen, 1 fluorine, and I totaled that up. Now I'm going to take each individual mass in turn, 1 hydrogen, 1 hydrogen, there's my total, 1 fluorine, there's my total, times 100 divided, percent sign is your label, and I have 5.04% hydrogen and 94.96% fluorine. Please note, we had a 1-to-1 ratio that in no way translates to a 50-50% by mass. We're not counting the atoms, we're counting the mass. Fluorine is 19 times heavier than hydrogen. So it's no surprise that fluorine gets the larger percent, 94.96, whereas hydrogen's just a 5.04%. Hydrogen's a very light element. It should always be a low percentage, no matter how many in a compound. Now, I do want to make note that if you do it right, you should be able to check your work by adding up the percents and getting close to 100. We do some rounding, so it may not be exactly 100 all the time, but it should be very close, like 99% or 101%. 82% is right out, 117%, you did something wrong. Should be extremely close to 100 if you did it right. Now let's take another example, more complex. We have hydrogen, sulfur, and oxygen. Please note 2 hydrogens, 1 sulfur, 4 oxygens. So we'll have to account for that. First we need a total, so here's my total. 2 hydrogens, 1 sulfur, 4 oxygens. Grand total of about 98 grams per mole from the periodic table. Now I'm going to take the amounts for each individual element. Now please notice it was H2, so I doubled the mass from the periodic table. There was only 1 sulfur, so I have only 1 mass from the periodic table for sulfur, and in my formula it was O4, so I have 4 times the mass from the periodic table. You must account for that both in the total and for the individual amounts, so be certain you do that. You're going to divide, going to multiply by 100. The percent sign is your label, and I have about 2% hydrogen, which is not unusual since it's so small. Sulfur is 32%, 32.69. Sulfur is twice as heavy as oxygen, but we have 4 times as many oxygens in the compound as sulfur, so no surprise it gets the biggest percentage, 65.25%.